right, my friends, how are you today? And you're bringing your daily horoscope for Tuesday, the 9th of February, 2021. We've got the moon moving through the later degrees of Capricorn. Sun moving through the later degrees of Aquarius. We're getting ready for this Aquarius new moon. It's a big deal. Very big deal this year. All right, but we have to finish up. We have to finish up the moon's journey in Capricorn first, right? Right around noon on Tuesday, Eastern Standard Time, the moon is going to conjunct Pluto, all right, the Dark Lord Hades, okay, which Pluto is all about death, destruction, transformation. It is the phoenix rising from the ashes, right? What once was must be destroyed, and something even better is going to come from it. Pluto in the sign of Capricorn, obviously this is about the government at large, governments around the world, not just here in the United States, but whatever government whatever governments are going on, Pluto's been in Capricorn since 2008, right? And it's been making huge changes. Now, one of the things you can also see since Pluto has been in Capricorn, because the Capricorn-Cancer axis deals with sexuality, right? And transformation of our sexuality, and it also represents the public image, okay? So one of the things that we've seen since Pluto's been in Capricorn is a transformation of our sexuality and an acceptance globally of it, right? So we've seen more like the transgender things come up, right? Or the surgeries that take place, right? And becoming much more accepted when it was, once frowned upon or bad, whatever. Now it's like this is becoming accepted in our culture and society, which is a wonderful thing. People can express themselves in many different ways. So this is one of the examples of Pluto in Capricorn that deals with transformation. The other, of course, is about government at large. And lastly, about personal government, how we govern ourselves. Okay, and our personal, like we talked about, yesterday, how we're representing ourselves to the world. We want to be, we want to be loved. And when we have the emotional moon, we want to be loved. We want to be appreciated by our peers. We want to be respected. We want to, we want those attaboys and attagirls and good jobs and, all of those good feelings. Okay, now when we're talking about our feelings in Capricorn, we talk about getting the job done, doing something that's necessary no matter how we feel about it. It's like the show must go on, get him to the Greek, the Aldo Snow character breaks his arm right before going on stage. But he's like, no, we're not going to cancel the show. The show must go on. We must give the people what they came here for, a good time in a concert and all this. So it's just like there's this sense of like the show must go on kind of energy. And our emotional moon conjunct Pluto, this energy can become obsessive about our emotions, or emotions that we've had buried deep within us, potentially from childhood even, kind of arise almost out of nowhere. It's like we're triggered by something. We're not triggered in the sense of like anger or aggressiveness, but triggered as in like something happens in our environment and all of a sudden we begin to, recall these memories or these emotions from something from some time ago that gets stirred up within us, and it's just saying like, okay, it's time to confront these issues right now. Like fear that we had when we were a child kept us safe. If that fear no longer keeps us safe, then it's hindering us and holding us back from expressing or living the way that we need to be living, right? So we can always expect something in this kind of manner to come up when Pluto and the moon conjunct. And then the moon is going to move into the sign of Aquarius. So now we're going to have the moon. We have Saturn, we have Venus, we have Jupiter, we have the Sun, and of course Mercury retrograde. All right, so we're having a ton of Aquarian energy right now. And this is, one thing too is like it's about the nervous system. Okay, Aquarius is about the nervous system. Saturn is about bones, teeth, get your grill checked, it's like a little physical checkup is something kind of necessary. Are we, a way to look at this is like the dog that sprained its ankle or broke its leg. The ambition of the dog, dogs are just fun, loving, and just, they want to please kind of an animal. And its ambition to want to run might outweigh the pain that it has in its leg, right? So the dog's going to want to get up and run and not realizing that it has to tend to its leg a little bit differently. So sometimes we want to just run and we don't pay attention to that broken bone, the broken leg, the broken emotion, not necessarily broken, but that emotional thing that we need to pay attention to, that we need to give time to heal those wounds. So there's a lot of energy going on right now that's just like, look, all of this stuff is coming, all this new energy is coming. All of this new stuff, this new way of living, this new perspective on life. But we have to take care of things. We have to take and look at ourselves and deal with, are we just pushing up old emotional stuff underneath the rug and hoping it's just going to disappear? That we can enter a new relationship or a new job or this new life, or we're just going to get up and move. It's just like your problems follow you. So as much as we have all of this new energy coming up and wanting to move forward in this new direction and breaking free, right? That rebellious Aquarian energy of breaking free of tradition, breaking free of the old, breaking free of limitations, which the Capricorn energy and Saturn have, right? They're limited. You're stunted. You can only go so far before you hit the ceiling. Where the Aquarian energy is saying the sky's the limit. How far do you want to go? How deep do you want to go down the rabbit hole? Do you want to lift that emotional burden or emotional trauma or emotional pain? It means we have to go back in and discover it. Okay, so this conjunction of the moon and Pluto is very necessary before we get to this new moon in Aquarius happening in a couple of days. All right, so this is very profound energy, whatever's coming up. And again, sometimes we can obsess about these emotions. We can obsess about these things where that's all we see. It's just like my emotions are so important, they're overwhelming me, and it's all I see. And if we get caught in this today, take a moment, take a break, take a couple of breaths here, and remember where all the other energy is, and rethink and reevaluate, our emotional stance on a certain subject, and find out, is this doing me good to revisit this? Is this doing me good? Am I healing an old wound? Am I revisiting this for the sake of transformation? Or am I revisiting this like playing a broken record and I'm simply just putting myself, it's like, peeling the scab off just for it to scab up again and peeling the scab off. It's like we're never allowing it to heal, So it's like, well, we want to heal. We want to go on to new territory, new places. And it's necessary to do that inner work, that shadow work, before we move on to this explosion of energy that the Aquarian energy is bringing us. And if we look at the zodiac too, Mars is pulling this train. Okay, Mars is in the lead right now, with the exception of the North Node being in Gemini, not a planet, it's a space. It's a point in the sky. So Mars is leading this train, meaning our assertiveness, our desire, our sense of action, putting one foot in front of another, is kind of taking the lead here. So we're aggressively wanting to move forward, and with the solid ground of Taurus underneath us, it's saying like we have all of the traction that we need to move forward, all this ground available to us to run across the field. And what direction are we pulling our lives in with all of this assertive Mars energy? And all of the other personal planets are back in Aquarius. And Mars is loosely conjunct to Uranus, the ruling planet of Aquarius, which is creating change in the infrastructure of money, of how we view society, of how we view the world, of how we view the stable, old, reliable, right? The stable, old, reliable is no longer, like my dad, growing up, he was just like, you get a job, you go to school, you go to college, you get a job, you get a good career, and then you retire after so long. It's like, yeah, that doesn't exist anymore. That lifestyle doesn't exist, right? And it's like the bold, the entrepreneurs, the ones thinking outside of the box, the rebels are more the ones that are going to be more successful these days than trying to just jump into a job in an old, reliable business, a brick and mortar company, right? So it's like we have a lot changing going on right now. There's a lot of emotions being involved today. There's a lot of forward momentum energy, a lot of change, and stuck, stiff energy that wants to change. And it's just one day at a time we make it through it, right? And paying attention to our emotions today, paying attention to whatever arises, trying not to fixate too much on something, not trying to obsess too much about our emotions, and just get through whatever has to get done, and evaluating, taking an emotional inventory of how this is helping me in my life or how this is holding me back, and what direction I want to flow in. What direction do I want to move into, right? We're in a constant world of change, and there's very, very exciting energy coming up. Very excited for this, my friends. Have a beautiful day. Thank you for hanging out with me. I'm so excited to be back home tomorrow. I'm back in the studio. Get to show you the actual chart. All right, we'll see you then. Have a beautiful day. Love you, and I wish you enough.